Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Somebody Should Have Told Me podcast. And I am your host, Miss Majisty Dennis. Okay. And what we're going to do today is we are going to pick up on the next part of the purity culture series, the surviving purity culture series. And so what I really want to do is I want to connect the dots on how my introduction to purity culture and talk to you a little bit about where I am now. And then we're going to go from there. My amazing producer, Jesus, is here with me, and he's getting a lesson on purity culture. And so he's helping me fill in the gaps on what I left out from our initial episode. And so here we are. So what did you want to know, Jesus, about the ring? Okay, so Jesus was asking me, what did I do with the ring? And y'all, I wore the ring from 12 up until probably I turned 28. I did not take off the ring until the year of our Lord 2020. And so another thing that he was asking me was, like, did guys approach me when I had the purity ring on? And absolutely not. They did not. So here's the tea. Thing is, Jesus. So a lot of the purity movement that I was connected to, there were other, different spaces that express this in a different way, but at the same time, when everybody puts their heads together, everybody was experiencing the same thing. So the ring that I had on from the ceremony says true love waits. And so that's the ideal. If a man really loves you, he will abstain from sex with you. And so there's always this sort of a mantra that you live by. True love waits. And y'all, I'm just like looking at my life after a while, like, how much time is enough time? Like, specifically, how much time do we need to wait? When is the wait over? Have I did enough? Can we do a timeout on the wait? Okay. So I had a few moments in this journey that kind of made me wake up and realize that what I was doing absolutely was not working. And so, am I really going to say this out loud? I'm scared. Okay. So it is important that I correct what I have said, because not only was I living by this, but I preached that others should live by this. And now I think something totally different. One of the problems, I think, with true love waits, if you're type A like me, you tend to receive information in a very matter of fact type of way. And so when you say wait, I will be sitting here and I will be waiting. And after some time, when you are continually living by this wait on God ideology and all of these things, I think that weight starts to translate to other areas. And that's why this podcast, we are going to talk about our convictions, our career, and our coins, is because there are areas where I feel like a lot of people are waiting on God and you. And there's a lot more things that are within our power to control and create forward motion in our life. As the kids will say, the motion that we don't realize. But if we're just waiting perpetually, you will not be doing that. And so I started to realize I was having a problem. So problem with this is, and I think this has started out as something that people out of a pure desire, but over time gets skewed and it takes the wrong direction, and the impact of it just goes very bad. The biggest problem I think with the purity movement and purity culture is when you have Christians who don't live for God. Christians live to impress other Christians. And that's where you're going to be messing up at, okay? And what I started to realize is because I needed to have this congruency in my life between what I say, what I live, and what I do, it was like I was trying to make sure that the things that I was saying, my life was in this direct alignment with it. But at the same time, it was at the expense of the results of what I wanted out of life personally. And I still to this day think it is very important to live what you preach, and that's what I was doing. And then I realized I was kind of preaching the wrong thing. So what had happened was I would always talk about the True Love Waits movement as I would go and do my speaking engagements and all this, that, and the third. And whatever happened, somebody I think it was I used to post my purity anniversary. So my purity anniversary was February 15th. The irony, why was it even that? Like, okay, if you made it through Valentine's Day unscathed, today's gonna be your purity anniversary. Anyway, probably because I always used to say it's my purity anniversary. And then at the time, like after 10 purity anniversaries, I was like, ooh, I do not like this. I do not like doing it. I do not want to have to post another year of this. Put it away from me. So what some person, and I still don't remember who did this, but I remember what they did, went online and made this collage, like a picture collage. And it was like my picture, and it was like 7 years of how long all of these people that she knew had been abstaining from sex. I said, this is where we gotta stop. Okay, because everybody else was like all in my business. I said, we got the wrong ideal here. And this is the problem, is that the girls are having a waiting contest. And if you want to have a waiting contest, you go right ahead. I will not be having you all up in my business like that. I understand wanting to make a public declaration of your love for God and all of that, but when you want to do that, you need to be baptized. You need to go and be dunked in the water. You don't need to be making sure people are keeping tabs and tallies on your purity anniversary. And so that's why I just stopped telling the business. And I will not be telling the business because it's something that needs to stay between you and God. And I think purity culture comes up short when you are trying to create this opportunity for other people to monitor your salvation. And that's what it has become. And I think that's where the problem comes in, is that it is becoming something that after so much time, right? Once again, this podcast is not like for, no shade to you, but this podcast is not for the 6-monthers. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've been abstinent 30 days, this is not your corner of the internet. This is not for you. This is for the girls who don't even know if it works anymore. Like, this is for the girls that's like, Jesus is on his way back. And I will never get the chance. Like, this is who this podcast is for. So anyways, and whoever this girl is, I don't know why you did that, and I'm not mad at it, but it was a wake-up call, because I'm like, everybody is literally just seeing who can wait the longest. And because it has become this thing that is about what people think about you, you will keep going on the wrong mission. Okay. And I think that it's easy to look like this is some act of righteousness that you are doing when you very well could be coming out of fear. You know what I'm saying? You very well, could be abstaining because you're just afraid. You very well could be abstaining because you have trauma from sexual abuse that is unhealed. But when you just put this blanket of the optics over it, it looks like everyone is on the same page. And so if you are on your abstinence journey, I want you to refocus your attention back to God and what he thinks about you and what he knows about you. And I want you to keep people out your business. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's God that you need to answer to. And I also understand wanting to be a living witness. I understand wanting to be an example of the faith. But at this point, I feel like people are looking at everybody but Jesus. At the end of the day, look to him. Okay? Don't be trying to see how you are going to walk your walk of faith by looking at me. I want you to read your Bible. Okay, I want you to spend some time in prayer because all of this trying to model your walk after someone else's, bad idea. Okay, so there's that. I got to tell you this story. So my brother, who shall remain nameless, we will protect the innocent here. He learned to drive somewhat later in life, like not, like 15 or 16, whatever the case may be. So he was working full time, but he was taking the bus to work. So one day he is coming home from work. We all waiting for him to get home, but he's, kind of taking the bus to and from. And so everyone's looking like, where's my brother at? Where's my brother at? Whatever the case may be. So he finally comes home and lets us know he was sitting at the bus stop. Caveat, I'm originally from Washington State. In Washington State, the bus can come every 5 to 15 minutes, depending on where you are. Transportation is not so great, and you could be waiting 1 to 2 hours for a bus to come in the balling hot sun. So Texas bus and Washington State bus is two different things. So he's telling us he's waiting for the bus. Y'all, he gets home. We're like, where have you been? All the evening. He lets us know that he has been sitting at the bus stop for so long. He was hungry. He was tired. The bus had come, picked up everyone. Everyone got on the bus, went to wherever they was going. And the bus had been gone for about an hour before he even realized that the bus had come an hour ago. He said, I was waiting so long, I forgot what I was waiting for. Not only did he forget what he was waiting for, but what he was waiting for had already come. And so this is for the girls that have been waiting so long that you just think the wait is the thing. And that's one thing I really want us to correct, is that we make abstinence like it is the exchange for a husband, like it is the transaction for a successful marriage, that it is the transaction for all of these other things. Here's what I have resolved, and if I were you, I would make it no more and no less. I think abstinence is the opportunity to evaluate your dating prospects with a sober mind. Okay? Clear heart, sober mind, no more, no less. Okay? Because it's like you need to get off this roller coaster ASAPington. I don't think that it is the intention of God for you to be abstaining. You know what I'm saying? Like 30, 40, 50 years. And the way that other people, traditional church environments will praise you, like this extended amount of time is a moral high ground. I get it, but also no. And what I'm finding is that maybe in some ways your abstinence takes you out of some things, parts out of and into. Okay. And so we think about deliverance like in the terms of like casting out devils, coming out of old habits, old mindsets, whatever the case may be. But I want you to think about deliverance like a baby being born, out of and into. A baby has to come out of the womb and into the world. And so, what I think this waiting contest will do, it may take you out of some situations that you weren't hoping to be in, but it will not take you, the weight in it isolated in itself will not take you into the hope that you desire. Stewardship will always be required. You will have to communicate to have the dating life you want to have. You will have to communicate to have the marriage that you want to have. You will have to communicate to have the sex life that you want to have. Communication will never stop. And so I think sometimes you know we don't allow ourselves to ask the questions that we should be able to ask. And what we're going to be doing over here is make a safe space to ask the questions. Because what I find is God is not intimidated by the questions that you have. And so he's going to have all the answers that you need. And so we'll be creating a safe place here to ask questions about the scriptures, ask questions about God. I think to ultimately understand the character of God and navigate our decisions based on that, and and find how God will deal with us individually. How I discovered that I was going to need to do more than just wait. Okay, so there was this guy. This was okay. So plus also, and let me add that my dating life is absolutely thriving at this point. So this is how I know what I'm talking about. I am proud of the men I date. I really don't have too many horror stories to tell you because I feel like I'm doing an amazing job at vetting the men before I'm dating them, while I'm dating them, knowing when to stay, knowing when to walk away. And men are great. And I can truly say that. And so this is not going to be some place where I just have all these horror stories to tell you, because I don't. I try to think pretty clearly about things and focus where I put my, time, efforts, and all the above. So fast forward to how good this gets is that the motion, as the kids might say, as it pertains to dating. I'm gonna tell you this story really quick. So I'm going through my little wake up process. Little things are happening that I'm starting to realize what is wrong with the ideals that I have. And I met this guy unexpectedly. He was a lawyer. I guess he still is a lawyer. He is a lawyer, super handsome, nice body, all this thing, got a little piece of change, got a little money, whatever the case may be. Today, in hindsight, he was flirting with me. At the time when it was happening, I did not know that he was flirting with me. And so, okay, so I don't even know. Okay, how much detail am I going to give? Okay, so he was asking me if I like football. And girls, if a guy asks you if you like football, the answer is yes. Okay. But at the time I was like, no, I just only really go to like my little brother's football games and this, that, and the third. So didn't know what I was doing, didn't know what I was talking about, whatever the case may be. Now, mind you, this young man is saved, very much like a gentleman. I don't know if I added that he was very, very handsome, like very much so my type, all these things. And I talked to my godfather about it, like after it had happened, and he was like, he was flirting with you. He was trying to put feelers out to see if you wanted to go to the game. And so by then, I had already done like some other things within this to like play hard to get. Like, I remember he told me what his name was, and then like 30 minutes later, I was like, what was your name again? I knew what his name was, but it was very dismissive. But all I had heard at the time was like, you play hard to get. First of all, don't play hard to get. If you're going to be hard to get, then be hard to get, but don't play no games. If you like that man, you like that man. If you don't like that man, you don't like that man. And that's just it. I didn't know this at the time. So my goddad, he told me he was flirting with you. You should have said yes. So I, I was like early 20s at this point. So it is just cause for this to be as childish as it sounds. So I was like, I love the Cowboys. Like, I tried to circle back, and I wanted to let you know, you wonderful listeners, that young man today is married. He went on about his business while I was playing games, playing hard to get, couldn't tell if a man was flirting with me. So things like this were happening that I started to realize, while this purity culture movement is telling you true love waits, just wait on God. If you talk to a man, you're trying to make it happen, and all you need to do is sit back on your hands, go home, work grocery store, and be on your best behavior, and a man will find you. Please stop. Okay? That is not true, because now God is a big target to miss, okay? But I would say that for someone who wanted to proceed at that time, I realized I did not have the skill set to interact with a man. I did not have the skill set to understand how to receive information as it was coming to me. And I had a very hard grief process about that, because I realized that the waiting is not the only exchange. You are going to have to learn how to interact with a man. You are going to have to go on some dates with some men that is not your husband. You are going to have to practice, so to speak, and get to know more men platonically, romantically, and you might fail. I think the best thing I've ever done in my dating life is to know that starting this phase of dating within my dating life is to give myself permission to fail. I am not a person who started dating at 12. I am not a person who started dating at 16. I think I was probably like 21 when I had my first date. And when I look back on those pictures, I look like I was going to church. But so waiting is not the only exchange. And I realized you could do all this hyper preparation. You can Esther and Ruth yourself half to death. But at the end of the day, ain't nothing to it but to do it, okay? Because I feel like you will be trying to pray, fast, get booted up, suited up, all these things, take a soaking bath, order frankincense and myrrh, holy oil from Jerusalem, okay, when the premise of our salvation is unconditional love. So, for all my purity culture survivors, which will go on to be thrivers as we explore more from this series, I want to say to you, you're worthy of love now. I want to say, if that man is fine, date him. I want to say that if you are wondering if he is your husband, the only way to know is to go out with him. And don't be worried about the other opinions, okay? If you are a woman in America, if you are a woman in Timbuktu, don't mess around and be a black woman in America. You will not be able to have the dating life that you want to have, worried about what people think about you. So the first step is keep people, unnecessary people, judgmental people out your business, and go out, date, and have a good time. And I know that is easier said than done. So I want you to stay tuned because I'm bringing on the experts that can help you feel like you will be well equipped to be able to do this. One of the things that I do as I govern all of my decisions, as non traditional as they may be, is that I make sure as I make these decisions, I can number one, answer to God for everything that I do. And number two, I can look myself in the mirror. And if you can do those things, I'm going to say that you are winning. So don't be hard on yourself. Get on the apps. If you are wondering, is the Lord going to send your husband? If he ain't sent him by now, God probably ain't the holdup. Create your profile, get on the apps, tell your friends that you are single, get you a nice little dress, Fashion Nova to do the trick, and get out. Go see something. Post some information. Post some pictures on Instagram that don't have a caption about the Lord and a scripture and a verse, so somebody can holler at you. I want to see the girls cook it up. I want to see the girls really like get it started. Because if you're not careful, you will wait your life away. And I want you to start living now, enjoying now, finding love now, knowing that you're worthy. You don't have to keep praying about it, keep fasting about stuff that God has already done. So, yeah, I think that's it. Stay tuned for the next episode. If you enjoy what you hear today, or what you heard today, subscribe to this podcast wherever you're watching it. YouTube, follow us on Instagram at Somebody Should Have Told Me Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. If you don't have 5 stars for us, leave it alone. What else? Subscribe, share this video to all of your social media channels and all that good stuff. And also, check out my book. We'll leave a link in the show notes. Majisty 6 Steps to 6 Figures. How to get the salary you deserve. Okay, because if you're going to be going on these dates, you're going to need some outfits. You might need little bundles. You might need new heels, new shoes, whatever the case may be, so you can go out and be cute. And you need to have your coin together. Okay, because I believe in the funds. I believe in having your monies together. And so I want you to do that. Click the link in the show notes. Also, you can use the promo code somebody, all caps, for money off of my new ebook. And I will see you back next time.